everyone, thank you for being here today. In this video, I'm going to be talking about something that I've been getting questions on a lot recently, and that is how to paint on watercolor canvases. Now, even about a year ago, I didn't even know these existed. I thought you could only do watercolor on paper, or I know there's a way to prep regular canvases to paint with watercolor on them. But about last summer, I was in Hobby Lobby and I came across these watercolor canvases. So I was super curious to try them out. I've been practicing these past 8 or so months with these canvases, and they are very different to use than paper, but as you practice more and more, you get the hang of it. So that's what I'm going to be showing you how to do today. Oftentimes for my smaller paintings, I still like to stick with paper, but if I'm going with a bigger scale painting, so a lot of times for my 18 by 24 inches, I've even done as big as a 30 by 40 inch watercolor, and these canvases really help me do those bigger scale paintings. Let's go ahead and grab our paintbrushes, and if you've already got a canvas, go ahead and get that out, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over what we're going to be using in today's video. I'm going to be using this Praying Oval 16 watercolor kit. Super affordable on Amazon. You can go check out the link in my description. And then I'm going to be using two brushes today. They're both round brushes, and I have a size 12 and a size 8 watercolor brush. And then, of course, our water and our canvas. So like I said, I got my watercolor canvas from Hobby Lobby, and I know there's other things such as canvas panel or aqua board out there, but this one's a little bit different. It's a canvas that's already primed and ready for watercolor paint, so we don't have to apply anything special for us to be able to use watercolor on it. So I'm just going to go ahead and open it up and let's get started. I think I'm going to do something pretty simple, just a little cottage in a flower field. So what I'm going to do is just take my pencil and sketch out where I want the horizon line to be, and then sketch out where I want my little cottage to go. So I'm just going to make this painting pretty simple, since the main thing I want you to get out of this video is just how to use watercolor canvas and the difference between paper and canvas. Now you can follow this tutorial if you'd like on paper, still totally doable. Everything that I'm doing here on canvas you can still do on paper. It just may look a little bit different, and that's okay. So the first time I used these canvases, I honestly just did not really like them at all. They're different. I will say, they just feel different than paper, and I do like the differences for the end result. It's just the painting process I think can be a little bit more difficult. All right, so let's focus on the sky for now. So what I'm going to do is mix up a light blue color. So I'm just going to take blue. Let me twist this so you can see it a little bit. I'm going to take blue and white here. So on paper, I would normally start by wetting the paper area to do my wet on wet technique. For this one, I'm just going to go ahead and start layering on without getting it wet first, because as you can see, the water is like already starting to shift around pretty well, and this can be a good and bad thing. The thing I do like about canvases is that it's easy to take away paint because it stays wet for longer, and that can be a good thing because it allows you to remove paint and to blend colors better. Now, I think it can also be a bad thing because I find it harder to add details to paintings or layering. Like, let's say here, I'm going to try to go in with a darker blue, and for me, it's harder to add those layers in and control them. I don't know. I feel like I have a lot better control on paper, but I do love the end result of these canvases, and this does allow me to work on much larger scales than I do on paper because it dries so quickly when I work with paper, and I can't really get that well blended effect that I like, whereas here, I feel like I can. So pros and cons, and I think they just have two completely different looks. if you're working with paper. So it could also just be a preference in what you want to see in your end painting. I'm going to go ahead and add some more like a peach color. So I'm going to take red and white and add that in here on the sides. Add a little bit. I love to add just different shades of colors in my sky. Let's add some orange in there as well. I'm going to dab that here at the bottom of the clouds. So like I said, I discovered these, I believe last year around the summertime. I've just really been practicing with how to use these canvases better, and I've made quite a few larger paintings with them, which I love them all. It does take, I think, more concentration for me when I do these paintings. I always love how they turn out, so I'd definitely encourage you to go find these canvases and give them a try. Definitely don't be discouraged if you mess up a few or have a few that you just need to, redo or throw away. Totally understand. I did my first one that I used canvas, I just ended up tossing because I didn't like how it turned out. So that is totally okay to do. All right, I like how our sky looks, so I'm gonna move on to the grass area. I'm gonna make some different colored flowers up front. Let's go ahead and just dot those in here. And I'm not really having a method to this. I'm just going wherever. I always say this. I feel like I'm a broken record when I say this, but when I work on flowers or flower field landscapes, I always say don't put them in a straight line because that makes it look less natural. Flowers are chaotic and they don't grow in a straight line, so I think it just looks nicer when they are more chaotically painted around here, and makes it easier for me to paint, but it also, I think, in the end looks a lot nicer. I'm going to go ahead and add maybe some yellows in here, different shades of flowers. Want it to look like a nice little flower garden up here. Let's add a few here in the front. Flower fields are one of my favorite things to paint. I just think that there's something relaxing about painting something beautiful. And for me, I think these are just something that I don't really have to think about too much. They're just easy to paint and something that I can, watch TV while I'm painting, or listen to a podcast or listen to music. Don't need to think too much about it. Maybe add some blues in here. I love the look of a variety of different colors, so adding those in here. Okay, what I'm gonna do is go ahead and add some of the grass area. So let's just mix up a light green. I like to add brown in my green just because I like to have it toned down and more of an earthy color. So let's go ahead and add that here on the canvas. And we're just going to go all around the flowers that we just painted. We don't want to go over them. So that's the thing with watercolor, is we don't want to layer over too much where we've painted already. I'll go back over after maybe and add some more definition to the flowers, but for now, You just want to make sure we're going around them. I'm going to go ahead and add a darker shade of green here, put that in the corner. I always love to add various colors in my shadows. So I'm going to probably go in with a red here. I always like to add red to my greens because I think it adds a nice warmer tone to them. Keep it a little bit lighter green up towards the top though. It's okay if you touch your flowers and it blends a little bit. I like the look of the watercolor when it bleeds a little bit, so I always think that's a good thing. I always feel like it's ironic that I love watercolor so much because I feel like as a person, I am a pretty big type A and perfectionist. That's why I loved math in high school, is because there's only one answer. It's very logical. There's no if, and, or buts. It has to be one specific answer. And watercolor, you just have to kind of let go a little bit because it can be more of a chaotic medium. And you really can't be too much of a perfectionist because it is one of the harder to control mediums out there. It's something that you just have to be willing to let it run sometimes, and that's okay. It doesn't go where you want it to. I'm going to make some swoops up here to look like grass. Now see how it's bleeding a lot? That's just kind of how watercolor canvases go. You know, it stays wet for much longer, and you can always take, you know, breaks to let certain parts dry. I do that sometimes at the end when I want to go in and add my finer details. I might, you know, let it dry and then go do those, but a lot of times I do like the look of having a more well-blended painting. If you give this a try, go ahead and let me know how you like it. Yeah, I think there can be a lot of mixed opinions about watercolor on canvases. Some people love it, some people don't like it at all. I think that again, like I said, there are pros and cons. So there's a time and place to use canvases and a time to go use paper. So okay, I'm gonna go ahead and paint our little cottage here. So I think for this cottage, I want it to be white. So I'm just gonna go ahead and mix up a really light off-white color. So I'm gonna take white, maybe a little bit of purple. I'm just gonna go over cottage here. I wanna maybe stick to the edges of the cottage, leave the middle a little bit more white. I'm gonna go ahead and paint the roof a gray color, so take the black, some white, just go over the roof. So I like to keep the edges of the roof a little bit more dark, so I'll probably just take I'm going to take my brush and just go across, and then I'm going to go in and layer some more dark colors where I want the roof to be darker. So let's go ahead and add that towards the edge here. And then take it across the top. And I'm actually going to go ahead and take that across the bottom as well. I'm going to go ahead and take my smaller brush and just, looks like it's bleeding a little bit here, so I'm just gonna wipe that across. I'm gonna actually do the chimney right now, and then I'm gonna wait for the house to dry a bit until I add in a little bit more of those details. Let's go ahead and just do some of the bushes around the edge. So I'm gonna take a green, bit of red, and let's go ahead and just go around the home here. Now I'm going to go around. I made some flowers go up here, and I want to keep those as if they were, you know, closer up front, so they're going to be larger. So I want to leave these be right here. Maybe go around a few. Just like so. And then I want to go ahead and vary how tall I'm making certain areas. So I want maybe this part to be a little higher, and then we're gonna go lower, and then I might go ahead and put like a little fir tree right here. I'm gonna use the tip of my brush to create this tree. Let's go ahead and grab our darker green. We're gonna put that at the base of the horizon, right here, so we can really see where that horizon line is. And I think that really helps with the depth. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a lighter color, blend that a little bit better. Wash off your brush whenever you need. We're just gonna blend this out a little bit. And then I'm going to go to the other side of this cottage here. Grab some green. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna add some trees along the edge here. So I'm gonna go ahead and now add my darker green. And then I think I want to add a little bit more varying colors in the bushes. So I'm going to add some blue. And we're going to add that to some of the shadows here. I'm going to add that to the left side of certain areas in the bushes. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some red in there as well for the other side. And it just helps add a little bit of dimension. I'm going to grab a lighter green and just kind of make one more little tree area back here. And then I'm going to grab some black and go ahead and do the windows here on the cottage. After you do this tutorial, let me know if you prefer canvas to paper or if you still like to use paper. So now that I did my window, I want to just show you how it is easy to take away paint a little bit. So if you want to take your brush and just lift up part of the edge here, just like that, it adds a little bit more of that highlight, which I do like a lot about these canvases. It really makes that a lot easier than paper. I'm gonna add my other window over here. And then I think I'm going to add a little bit of like a shadow under the roof area. So I'm going to take my darker paint and just go under this roof here. take a bit of a maroon color and add this little door area. Not really sure what this part actually is, if I really meant it to be a door or a garage. I don't know. It's a little bit big to be a door actually, but oh well. And then I want to take a dark color and I want to go around the edge to add some shadows. And maybe even a darker black color, add a little bit more. I'm going to actually take a little bit of a darker green and kind of add more. I decided I like how this one has a little bit darker on that side, so I'm going to go on this side and add some more of those darker shades here. And we want to make sure the horizon line is not too straight because there's grass there. So I'm adding a little bit of texture here. So I think the last thing I want to do here is to maybe add a little bit more depth to our flowers and maybe some stems. So let's go ahead and grab some darker red. I'm going to mix red and brown. And just add that here at the base of some of the flowers. I'm gonna add like little petals almost, add a little bit more texture to this painting. Let's go ahead and get more of like a blue and purple color. Add that as well. And then let's go ahead and grab our dark green and just add some stems here so that I'm just gonna add them wherever I feel like it's right, kind of near the flowers, little grass blades at the bottom. And this will just help a little bit more with adding some definition. I think that last part, or I think adding those fine details at the end of paintings really pulls it together. Add a few more stems up near these flowers. I am happy with how that looks. And here is our painting on watercolor canvas. I hope you all learned something from this video today and have more of an understanding of how to use watercolor canvases for your paintings. If you have not tried it out yet, I would encourage you to go grab one of these canvases and give it a shot. As always, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Watercolor with Emily. I've also got a website with a newsletter and a blog where you can stay updated with what events I'll be at and my newest paintings that I'm releasing. And I'd love if you like this video and subscribe to my channel. Until we paint again next time.